Hey, what's going on, everybody? Matt Rooney here with the Blogger Bowl for BetSperts. We're going to be taking a look at some preseason college football picks for a few teams around the country as we lead up to college football season. Today, we're going to start with the Tennessee Volunteers. Their over wins total at 7.5. Got to tell you, really like this over total. It does make me a little bit nervous that I'm betting on Tennessee because Tennessee usually tends to do Tennessee things at points. But I really think that over 7.5 to get themselves to 8-4, 8-5 with a bowl win isn't really too much to ask. Really like the way the schedule shapes up for them this year. The first four games really aren't that difficult for them. Toughest one coming at Pitt. I know they lost that game last year at home, but that was to a Kenny Pickett-led Pitt team that really ended up being a lot better than I thought. That team had Jordan Addison. I know that Pitt added Keaton Slovis this year, but still, I don't think as highly that Pitt team, and I think a Tennessee team in year two does take care of business in that game. They obviously go to Florida, or they have Florida at home, in week 4, which I think is big for them. Realistically, they could be 4-0 going into a showdown at LSU in week 5, where LSU is also a team that I don't think is going to be quite as good this year. I think first year under Brian Kelly, they're going to have a few growing pains. They haven't really recruited all that well. Not a whole lot of talent on that roster offensively or defensively, so I think that's possibly a game Tennessee could win as well. And lo and behold, you might have a Tennessee Volunteers team that's 5-0 going into Alabama. Now, is that likely? Probably not. Probably more like 4-1. They're not really going to beat Alabama, but I really think after week 6, you have a team that's probably 4-2. They have Hendon Hooker coming back, who was 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions last year. Josh Heupel's in year 2, so that program's going to have a little bit more stability. Cedric Tillman's coming back, their leading wide receiver, 12 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards receiving last year. Bringing back a few starters from the offensive line, anchored by Darnell Wright. That offensive line needs to improve in the pass game a little bit, but they did run block really well last year. So if they can get the run game going again, keep Hendon Hooker a little bit more upright this year, that offense should be buzzing and take another step forward. Defensively, improve third downs. This team is going to be a whole lot better. They ranked 103rd in third down efficiency last year. So that's something that needs to really improve. I believe it was 42% of the time opponents, just over 42% of the time, opponents converted on third downs against them. So if Tennessee can improve in that area, their offensive line can keep Hendon Hooker upright and healthy this year, I really think that offense is going to jump. And I think you see Tennessee hit that 7.5 over win total. I know it's minus 145. That's on FanDuel. You bounce around a lot of sites. You're seeing that as low as minus 175, minus 165. So books really seem to think Tennessee's going to go over. I tend to agree. I don't think that 8 wins is too much, especially with a bowl game. So that's where I'm going with Tennessee. Tennessee and Hendon Hooker and Josh Heupel in year 2. Go ahead and get that over 7.5 win total. We'll be back tomorrow with another team preview. See you guys then.